Tasmania, and Mystic Journey won the Guineas easily.
A Group 1 winning trainer that's got a beautiful ring to it.
My word, it does. She's a fantastic filly.
An $11,000 purchase to the Tassie sales. You couldn't have dreamed of a Group 1 then.
No, exactly right. We bought her. We thought that she was a lovely, cheap little filly that'd go out and do a job for us, not in our wildest dreams. We think that job would be a Group 1.
Mystic Journey over the top takes the lead. She is what dreams are made of. Mystic Journey's won the All-Star Mile in length and a quarter.
She is simply too good. What a star filly she is. She wins the Australian Guineas. She cost $11,000 as a yearling. Over in Tasmania, the pride of Tasmania, Adam Trinder, he trains an Australian Guineas winner to become the inaugural All-Star Mile winner.
The new reality of the racing season ahead is that Winx has exited stage left. The Queen has abdicated her throne, and we're wondering who's going to take it over. Well, the favourite to do so is Mystic Journey. What a remarkable story. You heard $11,000 from Tasmania. It'd be like the best galloper in New Zealand being trained in Stewart Island. So it's a pretty great story. The man behind the story is Adam Trinder. Adam, we say good morning to you. We know it's a busy day with your great mare back on the track. But before we talk about what lies ahead, we're going to go back and look what happened 19 years ago. You are the same Adam Trinder, there can't be that many Adam Trinders in racing, who rode the first jumps winner of the millennium at Ellerslie on Snuggle. Now, talk me through this, a jumps race on New Year's Day, and here you are getting the first jumps win of the millennium.
Yeah, exactly right, Michael. So it was terribly thrilling. It was a new concept that came about that Ken Brown pushed really hard to get across the line to sort of bring jumping into the forefront of people's minds in New Zealand and run a jumping race on Auckland Cup Day there, and something that I'm terribly proud of upon reflection.
How much time did you spend riding in New Zealand? And you were telling me just before that it actually opened up your eyes to the fact you could make money out of the industry. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, exactly right. So I was back and forth for Ken Brown there for probably a period of 12 or 18 months prior to his unfortunate injury, obviously. But Mr. Brown opened the world up to me post that win on Snuggle. We took him out to America, which I travelled with him and rode him during his preparation in America, and sort of that opened plenty of doors for me and led me on to the international stage as a jockey. Sort of, I was able to flit here, there, and everywhere, and live a good lifestyle, and fortunately make good money in the interim.
You talk about opening doors. Well, you've absolutely kicked a door in from Tasmania to Victoria with Mystic Journey. Speak to me about this. You buy a horse for $11,000. You probably think you're going to be hacking around at Hobart and Launceston, and maybe you'll get to go to Victoria. Now you train the favourite for the Cox Plate. How has that changed your life?
So definitely changed it in a positive light, and obviously being favourite for the Cox Plate is because she's been so successful in the past, and sort of off the back of each success sort of builds more interest in our business and more inquiry from new clients sort of looking to come on board. So it's definitely sending us from strength to strength. Fortunately, we've been able to sort of do the situation proud and continue to get really good results with the remainder of our team. So to potentially say it's going to be life changing as we stand here today. She's made me mortgage free. She paid my farm off with her All-Star Mile win. So I owe her a lot of gratitude.
For those of us who have never been on the ferry from Tasmania to Victoria, talk us through how you get your horse from your home to a place like Caulfield today. When does she travel? How does she travel? And what do you have to do to get her to travel?
So it's a really simplistic exercise. We're based at Devonport, which is on the northwest coast of Tasmania there, where the port is in which the Spirit of Tasmania leaves. So she travels on Thursday evenings. The transporters pick her up at 7:30 on Thursday night. She just drives straight down to the ferry, which is only 5 minutes away, and straight onto on board. She doesn't come off the truck, but we open up the back of the bay so that she effectively has a portable stable. So little bit similar to flying up the front of the plane as opposed to the back of the plane. So she's 7:30, leaves my stables, and she arrives at Tony McAvoy's here at 6:30. So it's an 11-hour door-to-door trip, but all quite simplistic for her. She eats in travel. She's got plenty of room. She settles well. So just works really well for us, we feel.
Adam, it would be easy for us to suppose that trialling in Tasmania, you might struggle to find horses of her ability to trial against. We're going to look at that trial now. Are you able to get her Victoria type fit by trialling her in Tasmania?
I believe so. Sort of, we didn't trial last time around. She just had the 2 race day assignments, but take nothing away from the quality of the local stock. Sort of, there are plenty of horses that would hold their own there, as we saw in her 2 previous assignments before she won the Guineas last preparation, and the trial field that have been assembled for probably reasonably similar. Wesley trialled in that event 10 days ago. He's a dual Newmarket winner, just behind the Group 1 place getters in the Goodwood there. Gigi's Double D, she's a fantastic filly in her own right. Was only a length behind her on race day in the Lady Lynette. So while she was only trialling, she was going there to be unextended, which was the case as it transpired. Just a little bit of stimulation's brought her forward nicely, and she's ready to go for a first up assignment in a preparation, which we hope is going to end up at 2,000 metres.
Adam, one of the longest and most woeful stories of racing is 3-year-old fillies who are superstars who just don't come up at 4. What's Betty been like around the stables? Do you get that feeling when you spend every day with her that she's dialed in for this?
So her demeanour probably hasn't changed, to be perfectly honest with you, Mick. Sort of, she's a very placid, docile filly round home, and to be perfectly honest with you, if you didn't know it was Mystic Journey, you would just think she was another horse in the system. She doesn't command too many airs and graces. She gains plenty. But, demeanour's the same as you comment about the 3-year-old filly. There is always a concern, but the fact that she has already beaten the older horses as a 3-year-old filly, and good, tough, seasoned older horses there in the All-Star Mile, I think that gives me confidence moving forward. She's obviously got to go there and do it, but all indications are that she's on the right path.
Mate, Caulfield was rated a 6 yesterday. I know you're hoping it gets back to a 5. How's the weather been overnight, and what are you expecting it to play like today?
So we received just over 3 mil of rain overnight, but they have listed this morning as a soft 5, which I trust that should be fine. She's won on the soft 5 before in the Thomas Lyon Stakes, start before the Australian Guineas. Wasn't at her best, which is probably concerning to a certain extent, because soft 5 is just a track with a little bit of ease in it, but her wheels did spin a little bit on that occasion. She just didn't extend like we've seen her on really tight ground, but I trust she'll go there and run really well. Whether a little bit of ease in the track dulls a finish, we're going to find out, but it's definitely a run that won't dent her, and we've got an objective that we want to move forward to in October there, obviously being Cox Plate, so the timing's right to get a preparation started.
Adam, what's it like when you have a horse who's the new favourite for a Cox Plate, a title that Winks has held for the last couple of years? You're a guy who's from Tasmania. You haven't had a horse like this before. Do you buy a new suit? Do you have to do the tie-up a bit tighter these days? Do you have to have a few more media commitments like you're having this morning? Is it a different experience, your life on race day now, than popping along to Hobart for 3 or 4 today?
I'd probably try and keep things on an even keel, to be honest with you. No new suits. I've always been a very dapper dresser, so I've always taken a lot of pride in my presentation. So nothing's changed in that regard. Obviously, a lot of interest in this filly herself, media commitments directly involving her. I've always sort of made myself available to the media as a stable, and sort of we've always been a stable that's fortunately commanded a lot of attention from the public. So we just try and keep things even. We've got an objective which we're moving forward to, and hopefully we can achieve it.
Adam, I'll make it simple for you. I'll ask you what we always call the pub question here on the Punters Lounge. I'm at the pub with the boys, I'm having a few bets, and I text you and say, Adam, do we back the mare today or do we maybe wait for another week? What's the answer?
I'd be waiting for another week on conditions that are presented. I think the bookmakers have been very protective of, probably not of her, very protective of themselves at $1.90. I would suspect the first assignment on this sort of ground she's going to be vulnerable to a certain extent. But if they can't beat her today, looks like it'll be a good preparation.
Adam, on the first day of January in 2000, you had plenty of fans in New Zealand. After this morning, you have plenty more. Good luck for the spring ahead. Thanks for taking the time to join us here on the Punters Lounge.
No, pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Adam Trinder, the man who trains the new favourite for the Cox Plate Mystic Journey. Words of warning. The pub question, would you back it today? He said, I would wait for another day. Maybe you'd only be taking the $2 for the P. Lawrence coming up at Caulfield today.